That's good. Right. Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Colonel Darren Palmer. I serve as the Chief Assistant Sheriff, and I welcome everyone to the 2022 9th Annual Purple Light Nights lighting event. Please rise for the presentation of colors, the national anthem sung by Mr. Martellus Warren, and a moment of prayer and reflection by Ms. Georgie Solomon. Uniformed members shall render a salute during the national anthem. Color Guard, post the colors.
Mark time! Mark! Set! Time! Mark on! Up! Reset! Up!
Oh, say, can you see the dawn's early light? What so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and the bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say doth that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Order! Order! Up! Right! Wait! Forward! Back!
Just for a few moments, could we unite in prayer? Almighty God, our Father, we give you praise and glory and honor. We thank and praise you for this night, this afternoon. We thank and praise you for another opportunity to come together in unity. We come together tonight asking for your presence. You promised us that you will be with us always, so we know that you are here. We ask you tonight to minister to your people. We ask you tonight to reveal even the more answered questions. So many of us have questions about this thing called domestic violence. So we ask you tonight that answers will be brought forth. We ask you tonight that someone will be encouraged. We ask you tonight that someone will be able to hear a word of hope. We ask you tonight that someone will feel the presence of us united together, knowing that when we go through, we do not go through alone, but we go through side by side. So I'm asking you tonight to be able to hear your people's voices ring high with a word of comfort, with a word of peace. And we thank you and we give you glory and we believe in and trusting that someone is going to leave here changed. Someone is going to leave here healed. Someone is going to leave here encouraged. Someone will leave with peace. We thank you. This prayer, we united together Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Georgie, Mr. Warren, and to our color guard team. Everyone, please be seated. As we're gathered here tonight, I would also ask that everyone keeps in their thoughts and prayers the residents of Florida and all of those who have been negatively touched by Hurricane Ian. Welcome again to the 9th annual Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony. Our theme this year is Break the Cycle of Violence, End the Silence. Because of all of you, Purple Light Nights has become the official kickoff to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you for your continued support. Tonight, we're really excited to be back at this ceremony in beautiful Prince George's Community College. The college is an essential part of our county as the symbol of student learning and of lifelong learning in our community. As a side note, it's Thursday night, it's dinner time, it's a school night. Thursday night football will be on before too long. We know that you could be any other place, including home, rather than being here with us. So we will be respectful and honor your time. There is a reason we gather tonight, and there is much more information to be shared. However, we will act with brevity so that we will be at our ceremonial countdown to our lighting on schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our host and the president of Prince George's Community College, Dr. Felicia Williams.
Thank you. Welcome to Prince George's Community College. I am Felicia Williams, and I am so pleased and proud to be the 9th president of this great institution. I am also extremely delighted that you have joined us here for this very important occasion. Special thanks to Sheriff Melvin High, to Colonel Darren Palmer, and to the Prince George's County Sheriff Office for co-sponsoring this event. It's always important to have a champion in your community who, no matter what the odds, no matter what the obstacles, simply will not allow the most significant events and tragedies in our community to relish in the background. Our annual Purple Light Night ceremony, launched in 2014, it ushers in Domestic Violence Awareness Month with a simple but very impactful message. Domestic violence has no place here. Not in Prince George's Community College, not in Prince George's County, not anywhere. Prince George's Community College is proud to be a part of this vibrant community that is Prince George's County, where we have the privilege of serving alongside each of you. Every life that is impacted by domestic violence is one too many. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. This simply is unacceptable. Each year, we gather as survivors, allies, eager to learn and to demand change within our community. We are intentional, we are determined, and we will not back down. Through our partnership, we are giving voice to those who have been silent. Through our partnership, we are equipping our fellow citizens with the necessary resources to break the cycle of domestic violence. Through our partnership, we are reminding each person affected by domestic violence that they are not alone. Though they may feel trapped and isolated within their current circumstances, we stand with you tonight to say you are not alone. This community, Prince George's County, is here for you. There are supports, resources, and those among us who are ready to activate on your behalf. Domestic violence is complicated. We understand it. It's a challenge to grapple with. Many of us have been in the battle for a long time. Many of us have seen strides be achieved on the domestic violence awareness front. And yet, we still have a long way to go. I don't think anyone would say that we have yet arrived and that we have realized the kind of outcomes we hope for all Prince Georgians. But this collective space gives me hope. We are stronger together, and together we still have determined not to be defeated. Purple Light Nights is more than a tradition. It is more than an event. It is more than a kickoff of a month-long set of activities to keep it at the forefront. It represents a shared covenant, a shared agreement to let our lights shine because it is the right thing to do. And it's always good to still always do the right thing. After our purple light bulbs have gone out, after Domestic Violence Awareness Month comes to a close, we are still going to be letting our light shine surrounding this issue. Thank you for your service to Prince George's County and to our beloved community. And thank you for joining with us and so many others in simply saying, this issue has no place in our society. Onward in the pursuit of great light and great purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. One of our great fortunes is to have you as our partner. It's now my honor to bring forward our leader through which Purple Light Nights came to Prince George's County, Sheriff Melvin C. High.
Thank you, Colonel. Good afternoon, everyone. We are so blessed to have a beautiful afternoon, evening, and a certain beautiful environment in which to undertake this effort. And certainly, as Colonel Palmer indicated, our thoughts and prayers are with the people in Florida and Cuba and other places where, and Puerto Rico, other places that have been hit very hard. So thank you all for coming tonight and being with us. You know, the last 2 years proved to be unusually difficult years with all of the challenges and restrictions due to COVID-19 coronavirus. Though we had more information and vaccines became available as a precaution, we determined it was in the best interest of everyone not to gather in person. However, this year, we're excited to be able to come together with our colleagues, partners, and community for our Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony to kick off October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. While it's not quite October yet, you can tell we are eager to get back together. So with a little bit of a head start, we want to ensure we do our part to bring this awareness to the community and reach as many families and citizens as possible. God has blessed us with an unwavering desire to educate and assist everyone who has ever been involved or touched by domestic violence. We will use all of our resources to share our message. Domestic violence has no place in our community. Those resources include our social media platforms to disseminate information, our domestic violence advocates to assist victims, our sworn personnel for persons in crisis, our partners in the county, and myself as the leader you have elected to combat domestic violence in Prince George's County. And certainly, if you look around, you see a lot of law enforcement types. I want to certainly acknowledge my friend, my colleague, my partner in this business of public safety, Chief Malik Aziz, who's here tonight. Chief, you give us a little stand so they can see you. Thank you, sir. As you know, we persist in our effort to build partnerships like the one we're delighted to continue with Prince George's Community College under the leadership of Dr. Felicia Williams. In the desired partnerships, we've also identified a need for our voices, specifically to help educate and bring awareness to domestic violence. We have discovered that sometimes victims, survivors, feel like they can't always share what they are experiencing when they're in violent, intimate partner relationships. The more awareness we can bring to let them know there's help and they are not alone, and being a victim carries no shame, the better the chances are of getting them to share their experiences and take advantage of the resources we have in place. It is our goal to provide help, spread awareness, and end domestic violence in the community. Therefore, we have selected the theme, Break the Cycle of Domestic Violence in the Silence, for the 2022 Purple Light Nights virtual ceremony. We'll continue to work together with the state's attorney, who was here a short time ago and had to go into DC, with the county executive and her team, and all of our partners in the community to not only bring awareness, but to hold offenders accountable. We will also utilize our advocates and follow through on the well-being of the survivors of domestic violence. We encourage education and awareness that fuels our ability to improve the tools that strengthen protections against domestic and family violence. The Extreme Risk Protective Order, which enables law enforcement to remove guns, literally can save lives where a volatile situation exists. We will continue to use every opportunity to remove guns because we know that guns are too often a factor in threats of domestic violence and homicides. In addition, over the years, we've made such progress on educational awareness. Citizens are better informed about what domestic violence is, where they can get help, and have a greater knowledge about the range of resources available in our community. Many of our police agencies continue to undertake initiatives to grow resources and protections, such as the Maryland National Capital Park Police Domestic Violence 5K race. And I saw Chief here earlier, and I know he's here with us. Thank you for being here, my friend. And by many of our other municipal police chiefs, some of whom are here tonight, in their communities to light their station houses in purple to show their commitment and further our awareness campaign. Further, domestic violence takes no breaks, and neither have we during this crisis. The courts continue to issue protective orders, and our deputies in the sheriff's office continue to serve them. Our system for intervention has kept our citizens well informed throughout the year and during COVID-19, so that people know far more about what actions they can take to protect themselves and their families. I assure you that our prevention, intervention, and enforcement efforts continue, even during the time we've had to isolate as a community. Finally, I want to thank the residents of the county for helping us spread the message that domestic violence has no place in our community. Over the years, we've given away thousands of purple light bulbs and ask that you shine a light on your porch or in a window every night in October. And you know, incidentally, as I ride around the county, even beyond October, in the summer periods, I see purple light bulbs in porches. So thank you for continuing to spread that message year round. Thousands of you have, in partnership with our message, and signaling that yours is a violence-free home. I urge you to go to the sheriff's and Prince George's Community College social media to find out where to get your purple light bulb and multiply our effort for greater safety. My thanks again to Dr. Williams, Prince George's Community College, and our partners in this work to end domestic violence. And indeed, my thanks to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Hyde, for your words, your vision, and your leadership. Your comments naturally lead us to our keynote speaker, Ms. Lisa Spicknall. As she comes to the podium, I want you to know that Lisa is a survivor, a former Office of the Sheriff advocate, and is now the Executive Director for Donate Life Maryland.
Good evening. I would like to thank Sheriff Hyde and the Office of the Sheriff for putting on this year's Purple Light Night event. It is an honor to join you this evening to raise awareness and a unified voice against domestic violence during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. My name is Lisa Spicknall, and for 8 years, I was a victim of domestic violence, quietly suffering at the hands of someone who claimed to love me. For years, we had this relationship, which consisted of his physical, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse. For those 8 long years, I suffered at the hands of my abuser. During that time, we had a family, 2 beautiful children that he ultimately destroyed. Domestic violence comes in many forms: physical, emotional, verbal, and sexual abuse. But for the victim who is in love with their partner, we choose to overlook the abuse. We believe that we can change our abuser or that we deserve the abuse. For me, I became isolated from my family, my friends. Over the 8 years we were together, I suffered a broken arm, a broken nose. I was choked, slapped, kicked, my hair pulled, and I was made to feel worthless. I had bruises that covered my body from head to toe. He consistently threatened to hit me, to take the children from me, and finally to kill me. Throughout all of this, I believed that the abuse was my fault, that if only I was a better person, maybe a better wife, or if I did everything exactly the way he wanted, that he would not have to treat me the way that he did. During these 8 years in our relationship, I did what I was told. It was never good enough, and he beat me, even after the birth of our children. Even after the most severe abuse, a broken arm and nose both went unsaid, but most importantly, both also went unreported. Although during this time he did not physically abuse the children, mental abuse was present. Although, in the fall of 1998, the abuse escalated. After a not so unusual night of fighting, my husband's yelling awoke my son. When I tried to comfort him, he would not let go of me, nor would he stop crying. This is the instant, the final breaking point, that I decided I did not want my children to live this way. He told me to leave, and I did not beg to stay or try and talk him out of forcing me out. This enraged him even further. He grabbed me by the throat and pushed me down the stairs. That night, I left my home with the clothes on our backs, and I had nothing, not even a diaper. The next morning, I filed for a temporary restraining order. My marriage was over, and I wanted away from the abuse. Not only my mind, my body, but more importantly, my children could take no more. About 9 months after I filed for and was granted the protective order, my husband decided to use his vacation time with our children. 1 year later, in September of 1999, my ex-husband committed the ultimate act of domestic violence. On their way to vacation, he stopped, shot, and murdered my 2 children. This was his final form of control, the final act of domestic violence he was able to commit. 23 years ago, my ex-husband got what he wanted, the ultimate control of my life. He made everything and made my worst fears come true. I never expected to end up in an abusive relationship. When I was younger, I didn't know what domestic violence was. But in the 8 years we were together, I was paralyzed with fear. I truly believed that he would kill me. Ultimately, domestic violence destroys families. For me, that abuse took everything. Although our story does not have the picture-perfect ending, my hope over these past 23 years is by speaking out, I'm doing what I can to raise awareness and unify our voices against domestic violence, to help break that cycle of domestic violence, ending that silence victims have. Domestic violence may shape who we are, but it does not define who we are. In the past 23 years, I've had many choices to make. I've chosen to live my life in honor of my children, Destiny and Richie, in honor of their memories. I've also dedicated my life to assisting victims of domestic violence. For several years, I was privileged to work right here in Prince George's County for the Office of the Sheriff, assisting victims with peace and protective orders. I've worked nationally training law enforcement, judges, clerks, commissioners, and elected officials on the dangers of domestic violence and how domestic violence affects our lives each and every day. The difficulties facing victims who want to leave but cannot. What most do not understand is victims stay for many reasons. They believe the threats made to them. They feel it's in their children's best interest to stay, or the abuser is going to take the children from them. They have no financial support. The abuser's taken their documents, and they're isolated from everyone they know. We are here tonight to lend our voices to those victims, to break that cycle of domestic violence, to end that silence for the 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men that are abused each and every day. First, we must understand the warning signs: jealousy, possessiveness, the controlling behavior, the isolation, insulting or demeaning comments, controlling all decisions and finances, the intimidation, harming the pets, and pressuring victims to do what they want them to do. These key signs are the first steps in a domestic violence relationship. We must understand how to help by starting a conversation with the victim, being supportive, not turning our backs on them. Focus on unhealthy behaviors. Keep the conversations open. Don't blame the victim. It truly is not their fault. Allow victims to make their own decisions. For me, it took 8 long years to finally get that courage and to stand up and leave. We need to support their decisions and offer them help. By working on understanding the pressure that victims face and the difficulties in leaving an abusive relationship, we can work towards supporting more victims, to break that silence and to raise awareness for the more than 10 million women and men who are abused each and every year. Thank you for your time this evening, and thank you for being here to support victims of domestic violence and to break that cycle.
Lisa, thank you that's a powerful story and a great reminder of why we do what we do. Thank you again for coming forward. County Executive Angela Alsobrooks has been a long-standing partner in the fight against domestic violence. On her behalf, please welcome Ms. Renee Battlebrooks, Executive Director of the Office of Human Rights.
Thank you. On behalf of County Executive Angela Alsobrooks, thank you very much to Chief Sheriff High, for the invitation for the County Executive to join you on this 9th annual Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony. The County Executive also thanks you for dedicating yourself to lending and to leading this effort from the very beginning. On behalf of the County Executive, thank you to Prince George's County Community College President Dr. Felicia Williams for partnering in this effort with the Sheriff's Office. And thank you, everyone, for coming out in support this evening. Your support is critical. We are approaching the start of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, increasing attention on the need to eliminate the pain violence causes in our community. In 2020, 56 Marylanders lost their lives to domestic violence, including 12 Prince Georgians. What is so heartbreaking is that each of these individuals is a person who was harmed by someone close to them. People harmed by intimate partner violence may feel isolated, but they're not alone in their experience. And with each violent act, the progression endures. With each failure to communicate healthily within relationships, the pain extends. With each silencing of a victim, whether unintentionally or purposeful, the cycle continues. According to the Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence, and Dr. Williams shared this, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men have experienced domestic violence. Across the country, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. So while this ceremony may raise awareness about the crisis in our county, it is clear the cycle of domestic violence doesn't only revolve here. It hurts families in Montgomery County, in Baltimore County, in Charles County. It destroys homes in Washington, D.C. and Virginia. It is a problem that continually spreads pain across this nation and around the globe. And that is why we join communities around the world in lighting our purple lights to break the cycle of domestic violence and end the silence. As county executive, Ms. Also Brooks's responsibility is to protect the health and safety of nearly 1 million county residents. But she started her career in public service working as a Prince George's County state's attorney. She was the first full-time domestic violence prosecutor. She saw firsthand what studies have shown. Only about half of intimate partner physical violence is reported to law enforcement. And the pleas from victims that did not come forward kept her up late at night, reminding her it was her duty to help break the cycle of domestic violence in our county. Ms. Also Brooks further states that it was her responsibility to be a voice for those who couldn't speak and not let silence keep their nightmare alive. She still holds those memories and she still believes those obligations remain. The county executive wanted me to let you know that as a government, we are doing everything we can to make sure our court system can find justice for domestic violence victims. We have worked to create programs and initiatives to combat domestic violence and will continue to do everything we can to break the cycle. But breaking the cycle does not require holding any particular position. Ms. Also Brooks says that we all have a part we can play in setting a new course. Domestic violence has no place in any community, and it takes the entire community to say no more. We can each commit to working on building and maintaining healthy relationships with each other. Government initiatives are most effective if we all work on using constructive methods of resolving conflict. Adults can be mindful about modeling healthy behavior for our children and teens because we know our young people learn from our example. 15 million children witness domestic violence each year. And research has shown that girls who witness domestic violence in the home are more likely to grow up and become victims or substance abusers. Boys who grow up under these circumstances are twice as likely to become abusers themselves. Ms. Also Brooks states emphatically that just because domestic violence is in someone else's home does not mean it is someone else's problem. Domestic violence is everyone's business. We must speak up because we can't afford to let silence win. Talking about these topics can be very uncomfortable, but it is up to us to push through these moments of discomfort to save years of future pain. We must be willing to have the tough conversations and then turn that talk into action. Our purple lights signal our obligation to those who have lost their lives to domestic violence. We have a duty to the survivors who need our support to keep fighting. We owe our voices to those still trapped in the nightmare of abuse, holding on to hope and that someone will stand up and speak for them. And we owe our action to the next generation to create a society where violence in the home is not a constant threat. So on behalf of the county executive, thank you again, Sheriff Hyde, for reminding us that it takes all of us to break the cycle. So may God continue to bless you all, and may God continue to bless Prince George's County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Battle Brooks. We appreciate you joining us tonight very much. And I would also just like to remind our elected officials and our police chiefs, if you have not checked in, we have a VIP table. I want to be able to give credit to all of those who have joined us this evening. Next, we'll hear from our State's Attorney's Office. Representing State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy is Ms. Denise Roberts-Smith.
Can you hear me? Good evening. Thank you all. I'm gonna have to hold it, okay. All right, good evening. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Denise Roberts-Smith. I'm Communications Director for our State's Attorney, the Honorable Aisha Braveboy. It is my honor to represent her here tonight. I know that she was here briefly earlier, but I know that she participates in this program every year, and I know she especially wanted to see it through this particular year, as this is the final Purple Lights night where we, with Melvin High as our sheriff. So we want to thank you for your leadership and your partnership and all the work that you have done on behalf of the residents here in Prince George's County. We really, really appreciate you. The State's Attorney comes to this event every year. I also want to acknowledge my soror, Felicia Williams, the president of this wonderful institution, all of our law enforcement partners on the stage and standing in the back, and more importantly, all of you here. It is so important to bring awareness to this issue of domestic violence, which plagues not only our county and our state, but the entire country. We know that the numbers are alarming, and we know that domestic violence, we all know someone who is a victim or a survivor of domestic violence. And we know that it is the leading cause of injury to women between the ages of 15 and 44 in the entire country. 3 to 4 million women in the United States are beaten in their homes each year by their husbands, ex-husbands, or male lovers. We know that this is not just an issue or problem that happens to women, it also happens to men. And we know that we know that there are more and more men that are coming forward every year as well. And they're not just numbers. It's not just numbers, these are people. And protecting victims of domestic violence is personal to our state's attorney, and it is personal to all of us. It should be personal to everyone, because it's a problem that we all need to be aware of, and awareness is just very important. We can't walk around our communities and not know what's really happening here. And while we would hope that domestic violence could be eliminated, we need our survivors and victims to know that we are here for them, that they do have support. And we must ensure also that laws are tougher so that we can hold perpetrators in domestic violence cases accountable. That's why the state's attorney, Ms. Braveboy, and the Office of the State's Attorney and other advocates fought so very hard a few years ago to ensure that strangulation became a felony as opposed to a misdemeanor. Strangulation is one of the most lethal forms of domestic violence. A victim can become unconscious within seconds and die within minutes. And our office fought for this legislation that now allows the charge of strangulation as a first-degree assault instead of second-degree assault. Today, 39 states, including Maryland, has legislation against strangulation. In addition to the physical injuries caused by strangulation, there's also psychological impact that victims deal with, and not just strangulation, but domestic violence as a whole. We know that it is not just physical, we know that it is mental, and sometimes that mental hold that your abusers can have on you can be even more damaging than the physical abuse. And it is important for our office to be able to hold perpetrators of any type of domestic violence accountable. So we work very hard, our office works very hard to prosecute them, to bring some level of justice for our victims and for our survivors. And throughout the prosecution process, we are victim focused. Our office works to keep the victims and their families involved in every aspect of the process. We take their input as we seek justice for them. And we encourage those, if you are living in silence, we want you to know that you don't have to live in silence. You can come forward, because our office will believe you and we will fight to the best of our ability to make sure that you get justice. The state's attorney also started a program called Not One. It brings survivors and advocates and experts together to bring awareness and develop solutions. And so tonight, I'm proud to be standing here representing our state's attorney to be a part of this program to stand against domestic violence. And we're confident that with our partners in law enforcement and the community, we will continue to fight for those who need us, and we will never quit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts-Smith. The 5th District Administrative Judge for the District Court is Judge Lisa Hall Johnson. Joining us tonight on her behalf is former Domestic Violence Coordinating Judge for Prince George's County, Judge Ada Clark Edwards. Please welcome her to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you, Colonel Palmer, and thank you to everyone here this evening. As Colonel Palmer mentioned, I am Ada Clark Edwards. I'm an associate judge for the District Court of Maryland, District 5, Prince George's County, and I'm here on behalf of Administrative Judge Lisa Hall Johnson, who's always been a tremendous supporter of this event, but unfortunately could not be here tonight. Let me just say that 2014, when this was first the brainchild of the Sheriff's Department, was a while ago, was some years ago. And I'm always amazed every year I come back at how large it's grown. In 2014, I was still the chief of the Special Victims Unit and Family Violence Unit, appointed by now County Executive Angela Also Brooks. And I remember thinking even back then when the Sheriff's Department first initiated Purple Lights, that was such an innovative way, an out-of-the-box way to bring awareness to such a critical issue in this county. And so to see that it's grown and continues to grow every year, and people continue to come out and support it, I'm so thankful and appreciative again to be here with you and to continue to be invited back and to continue to see all of you. I'm also appreciative that there are so many of you that I've worked with over the years, and these past 2 years have been hard. These past 2.5 years have been hard on our community, and it's been hard on us. And so it's been so good just this evening to see and hug all of you that I have seen only via Zoom over the past few years. So that has been very refreshing. As Colonel Palmer mentioned, although he's taken my title away really quickly, I am still the chair of our Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, and I serve as the Domestic Violence Coordinating Judge for District 5. I co-chair the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council with Judge Dolores Dorsenville, who also unfortunately could not be here this evening. It's from that coordinated community perspective that I just want to speak with you for a few moments. Over the past few weeks, my colleagues and I have had an opportunity to travel throughout the state and many jurisdictions as we prepare to transition our court system from and it's so antiquated, I can't even believe that we are still here where we are, but to transition our courts from paper filing to electronic filing. And so we've had to go and sit in other jurisdictions. We've sat in Baltimore and in Anne Arundel County and Montgomery County and really across the state. And we've had an opportunity in sitting with those jurisdictions to also view how their domestic violence courts work. And what I can tell you is that only probably second to maybe Baltimore City, Prince George's County is still one of the busiest jurisdictions across the state when it comes to domestic violence. That's civil protective order filings, that's DV criminal cases. We're still one of the busiest jurisdictions, and that means there's still a lot of work to be done. There's still a lot of work for us to do. But what reassures me is that the partners that I've had the privilege of working with over the many years that I've been doing this work, that they are the most committed people that I've ever known. I just want to tell you a little bit about what the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council does. It is a council that is made up of a number of agencies throughout our county, a number of agencies and organizations. And you're going to have to charge it to my head and not my heart if I try and leave out everyone, but I do want to give some example of who is represented on that council. We've got our courts, we've got our sheriff's department, we've got our Prince George's County Police Department. They've always been very involved, as have some of our other partners. Our state's attorney's office, the county, has always been a partner with us, and we've always been very thankful for the work that they've done. In addition to that, we've partnered with our Family Justice Center. We partner with the House of Ruth. We partner with the Department of Family Services. We partner with the Department of Health. The Prince George's County Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center, that's now a part of the University of Maryland Health System, has been a partner with us. The Community Advocacy for Families and Youth, Community Legal Services, it goes on and on. And so if I forgot someone, I'm so sorry, but we have so many people that are represented on that council that meet every month, in addition to all the other responsibilities that they have. They sit on so many task forces and committees dedicated to bringing awareness to the issue of domestic violence and developing solutions as to how we can better serve survivors that are coming into our system. I will tell you some of the work that they have done, some of the things that we've been able to do. They've developed trainings that they've taken out. They've developed trainings within the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council that they've then taken out across the county through HOAs, through civic association meetings. If we were invited, if we were able to get into churches and we partner with faith-based community, we've been able to deliver trainings there. And that was, again, something that came through the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, through the partnerships of so many of the people that are here and represented this evening. Just before the pandemic hit, we were planning an open house that we were going to have every agency represented so that we can continue to provide resources and information to those who are seeking resources for domestic violence, or family members or friends who know someone that they want to bring resources to. Well, then the pandemic hit, and so we had to pivot. But I will tell you that it was in that moment that, again, I continue to be impressed and see just the dedication of the people that we have here this evening, because that did not stop us, and that did not stop the work of our Domestic Violence Coordinating Council. We pivoted very quickly and instead moved from an in-person event to a virtual open house that we were able to do online. And this was really, I want to say, the height at the beginning of the pandemic as things were shutting down. We were able to still use that as a resource, and it is now available online for those who still wish to access it, that they can access it. And so again, I continue to be impressed with the level of dedication and the work that we do here. I also want to share with you just a few of the things that have been happening across the state. I know that our representative from the state's attorney's office spoke about the strangulation bill that was recently passed, that has expanded the definition of strangulation to now make it a felony. And so that has been been a great stride for law enforcement and for those who are seeking, again, for victims of strangulation. some of the more recent bills this year, stalking is one of the most recent bills that have been expanded now to include electronic stalking and electronic following. So for many of you all who may not be familiar with it, there are a number of devices. They can be put on your cars, they can be put on a number of different things, but they can also be tracked just via your telephones. And so that had not been, or your cell phones, rather. You see, I dated myself there, but you can use your cell phones. You can now be tracked via your cell phones. And so we're a little late in doing it, but our laws are finally catching up to what we see happening. And so that has just been implemented. We're now, stalking has now been expanded to cover those things as well. One of the other bills that I just wanted to bring to your attention as well is the electronic filing, where petitioners are able to now file electronically from hospitals. And the resources now have to be made available to them to file from remote locations. And that's something, again, that was not made available until just this year. And so while Maryland still has a way to go, while Prince George's County still has some ways to go to continue to provide services, we are continuing to make those strides. And it is due largely in part to everyone you see, the people you see who are taking time out of their schedule to continue to do the work that will benefit and bring additional resources to survivors in Prince George's County. And so again, on behalf of District 5, on behalf of our administrative judge, Lisa Hall Johnson, I just want to thank you. Again, I want to ask that you continue to partner with all of us to continue to improve services and resources for survivors across our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. I didn't mean to kick you out of your job, so it's. So thank you again, Judge, for your remarks and all of the work that you've done to support a fair and efficient judiciary. Our final speaker this evening is the Director of the Family Justice Center. Please welcome Dr. Denise McCain for brief updates from the Justice Center. Please.
Thank you, Colonel Palmer. Good evening, everyone. Again, Denise McCain. I bring you greetings from the Honorable Sheila R. Tillerson-Adams, the Chief and Administrative Judge of the Circuit Court, and which you all know, the Family Justice Center is an initiative of the Circuit Court. I just want to start out by really just taking a moment to thank Sheriff Hyde. I have worked with you for years, many years, even prior to your becoming the sheriff when you were at the police department. And I have always admired you for your dedication and your commitment to this issue. You're someone who's always stepped up, and you've continued to make sure that the citizens of Prince George's County were protected, but the domestic violence was something that you really did put a lot of effort into, and for that we really appreciate you. We're going to miss you, and I just wanted to say that to you publicly as well. I told you personally, but thank you for all that you've done. And I also just want to acknowledge Lisa. We've also worked together for years. Thank you for your courage and for being here. Very tragic story and situation, but you've taken that pain and you've turned it into purpose. So continue the good work that you're doing. Thank you. So I'm going to be very brief tonight. Thank you, Colonel Palmer, for giving me a script, because I really wasn't honestly prepared to be here tonight, but I'm happy to see you all. It was 6 years ago, I stood before you when the Family Justice Center first opened its doors. In fact, we had only been open for about 3 months. And it was a time when this county, which still has very high protective order numbers, we were faced with very high domestic violence homicide rates. And it was clear that more needed to be done. Survivors were struggling. Survivors were having a hard time getting services and resources. And for that reason, we know that first and foremost, the issue is underreported. But when it was difficult to get to those resources, it kept many more away. The Family Justice Center was established primarily to ease that burden that survivors often face, to make the process much simpler, more efficient by having all of the resources in one place under one roof. Since that time in 2016, we have made a tremendous impact, saving lives, restoring hope for thousands of survivors right here in this jurisdiction. And that was only made possible because of the support that we've received from all of you, from our partners. We have 22 organizations that are co-located in the Family Justice Center, but also from our elected officials. I just came back from Denver from a leadership summit for Family Justice Centers, and one of the problems that many states talked about was that they did not have the support and buy-in from their elected officials. And for me, I said, wow, we are really ahead of the game. We don't realize how fortunate we are, and I've said this on so many occasions, to have elected officials that really care and are putting forth the effort to help combat this issue. So we have made strides, and we are definitely in a great place. I just want to finally say, with regard to updates, in addition to the thousands of lives that we've saved and that the people that we've helped, the referrals, over 5,000 referrals that we get annually because of all of our partners. But more recently, because we understand that domestic violence is not a 24/7 issue. It's something that happens 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day. And our facility was only open, and still right now, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. That is not the time when many of these incidences occur. So we're taking steps forward. We were fortunate enough to receive funding that will enable us to expand and extend our hours. I can announce that by the end of October, we will have the ability to operate Thursday evenings until 8 o'clock, Friday evenings until 9 o'clock, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. So that's going to really make a difference. In addition to that, we are expanding with the establishment of 7 satellite offices around the county. And actually, they're going to be located in municipalities. So yes, please clap, because that is definitely an accomplishment. It is definitely an accomplishment, and also even one on Bowie State campus. So again, these are things that we're doing because we realize that we have to do more. We have to be more vigilant and diligent in our efforts to make sure that these services are provided. And lastly, I just want to also let it be known that we have finally been able to establish a Family Justice Center Foundation. I know that some of the foundation members are here, I've seen them, but that's also going to be a resource that will enable us to ensure that we're able to sustain ourselves with fundraising efforts. So finally, I'm going to close and just thank you all for being here. This is an important issue. Silence is definitely not the way to end domestic violence. In fact, silence perpetuates the violence. So we have to all do our part. This is a collective issue. It doesn't belong to just the police, the state's attorney, the courts. It belongs to all of us because this is a community issue. So thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. McCain. It's wonderful to hear how the Family Justice Center continues to advance under your leadership. So while our recipients are lining up for their Purple Light Bulb Awards, I'm pleased to recognize some of our elected officials and law enforcement partners that have joined us along with our table sponsors. And I first and foremost want to echo Sheriff High's comments. Thanks Chief Stanley Johnson with Maryland National Capital Park Police and Captain Barton. They are just fantastic partners. And of course, this wonderful stage that we're on is provided by Park and Planning. They are undeniably fantastic. So thank you to them. Also, our partners are at the tables back there tonight: the Family Justice Center, the Department of Family Services, Kappa Alpha Psi, Community Advocates for Family and Youth, Community Crisis Services Incorporated, the University of Maryland Medical Center Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center, the State's Attorney's Office, Prince George's Community College, the Office of the Sheriff, the University of Maryland SAFE, Bruised But Not Broken, Mercy Services, Maryland National Capital Park Police, and the St. Stephen's Missionary. With us tonight, Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Public Safety and Homeland Security, Barry Stanton, Chief Malik Aziz, Prince George's County, and Deputy Chief Ordonio, the Department of Corrections Director, Karen LeBay, the Clerk of the Circuit Court, Mahasan El Amin, Judge Ada Clark Edwards on the dais with us. Jackie Roan, fabulous Jackie Roan, the Prince George's County Department of Family Services. Lieutenant Truesdale, Maryland National Capital Park Police. Chief Collington with Bladensburg Police Department. Chief Demetrius Harris, Sea Pleasant Police Department. Chief David Burse with the Upper Marlboro Police Department. And Captain Kenner with the University of Maryland Police Department. Please give our partners a round of applause. In 2018, we established the Purple Light Bulb Award. I have the pleasure tonight of introducing the awardees for 2022. They are responsible for giving us the tools, the resources, or the criminal justice partnerships that enable us to do the work that rids our community of domestic violence. Peter White is a professor at Prince George's Community College. I'm sorry, if our guests could stand and move to this side. Sheriff, you come over closest to me with Ms. Bordeaux. Just stand here. If you can shake his hand as he comes across, then he's going to end up on the far side. For the last 10 years, we have partnered with his domestic violence class at the college. The Sheriff's Office Special Victims Assistance Unit presents information to his students about the dynamics of domestic violence and its impact on the community. This partnership is a major part of the Domestic Violence Intervention Division's strategy to help achieve our objectives, including community outreach and providing service to more survivors in the county. The outreach also informs citizens about the range of services available to them. Professor White takes pride in what we are accomplishing as partners. He has been very welcoming with our staff, and his students look forward to the annual presentations. Today, we honor Professor White with the Purple Light Bulb Award.
They're going to occupy this.
Thanks. Yeah, they're going to come over here. You can go over to the speakers. Thanks.
Tell us where to go.
You're just going to step to the sheriff's right. There you are.
You all come down this way.
All right.
Rhonda S. Smith is a community developer with the state's attorney's office, and she comes with a cheering section. She serves as a liaison between the victim and the attorney, and the liaison between the advocate and the attorney. For the last 6 years, we have had a very productive partnership enabling our advocates to assist victims after the traumatic experience has occurred. As partners, we work to enhance victim safety, promote accountability, engage the victim, and promote effective prevention. Rhonda understands that you must first listen to those we serve and include them in the process, because their voices are vitally important to the work we do. None of her work would be possible without the unwavering commitment she has to help the victim and hold the perpetrator accountable. Today, we honor Rhonda Smith with a Purple Light Bulb Award. Captain Manzoor Ahmed is a member of the Prince George's County Police Department. He serves as a liaison between the police department, the Office of the Sheriff, and the Family Justice Center. Captain Ahmed takes pride in coordinating and being in the role of officer, advocate, and partner with the Office of the Sheriff. His affiliation with the Sheriff's Office, the Domestic Violence Fatality Review Team, the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, and the Family Justice Center has only enhanced our partnership. Our partnership with Captain Ahmed includes enhancing survivor safety and promoting abuser accountability. Today, we honor Captain Ahmed with a Purple Light Bulb Award. Lisa Streeter is part of the Progressive Life Center, which educates African American faith leaders and citizens to recognize signs of domestic violence and to understand how to become proactive in prevention. Lisa serves as an outreach coordinator with Sisters for Voices, a support group component of the Progressive Life Center that is very active in the community, providing victims with an array of information, including safety planning, emergency services, workplace protection, financial education, and housing support. Our Special Victims Assistants have partnered with Lisa for support and community information sharing. Today, we honor Lisa Streeter with a Purple Light Bulb Award. Lieutenant Deck, Acting Lieutenant Stevenson, and Sergeant Hardister are special deputies in the Prince George's County Sheriff's Office that make a difference for domestic violence survivors every day. They serve as direct public safety responders as well as contacts within our headquarters and in the Family Justice Center. They are relentless and work to protect and provide services for survivors of domestic violence. They use their knowledge, education, and experience to help in immediate and long-term situations. They are constantly relied on by others in their area of expertise.
You can slide down this way a little bit.
These deputies have all served in the Domestic Violence Intervention Division for over 14 years of their careers and are an intricate part of our joint effort of many to provide education, guide people to resources, and make connections to keep people safe in the community. Their dedication is both commendable and appreciated by the Sheriff's Office and the individuals they serve. Today, we honor Lieutenant Kevin Deck, Acting Lieutenant Jonathan Stevenson, and Acting Sergeant Daniel Hardister, each with a Purple Light Bulb Award. Lieutenant Barbara Smith of the Prince George's County Community College Police Department has been a valuable partner and resource to ensure successful events and bring awareness to domestic violence. She is a sworn law enforcement officer and has an unwavering dedication to citizens, students, and partner agencies. She possesses an ability to evaluate situations and apply actions and recommendations for successful resolution. She can also decipher the need for intervention and recognize persons in crisis. Lieutenant Smith navigates survivors through the proper channels for assistance and follows up to ensure the process is adjudicated in the criminal justice system. Her dedication and public service over many years is outstanding, and her assistance to other partner agencies is invaluable. It is obvious that domestic violence will not be tolerated on campus or in the community by the proactive service Lieutenant Smith provides to prevent domestic violence. Today, we honor Lieutenant Barbara Smith with the Purple Light Bulb Award. Dr. Felicia Williams, President of the Prince George's Community College, has been an essential partner to the Office of the Sheriff for the Purple Light Nights lighting ceremony since 2019. We appreciate the partnership and want to recognize the efforts of Dr. Williams. Over the years, her efforts to draw attention to domestic violence, garner support, and involve partners has been a significant contribution to making this event a highlight in the county. When we notified Dr. Williams that she had been selected to receive a Purple Light Bulb Award, she immediately replied, "Oh no, this is what we do. This is a collaborative effort from many people here at the college and the Sheriff's Office." Her humble response solidified that she is a true leader. As an individual, she comes from a family of law enforcement. She has a personal interest to do her part to prevent domestic violence and to end the cycle of abuse on campus and in the community. Today, we honor Dr. Felicia Williams with a Purple Light Bulb Award. And if I can get everybody, I don't know, I'm going to rely on you all to get us in position for the best group photograph. So just direct, and then we'll move on.
I can get you ladies come this way. You guys want to move back to us? Thank you.
No, she'll get you set up. She'll get you set up.
Is that her?
We're gonna come in just a
Yeah,
live more. We're kind of overlap a little bit, so that way we can see like boards. And, yeah, it's tight.
I have one.
Turn sideways.
Stand sideways. There's a lot of these.
Move my monkey down to the waist and
I know.
Okay, so what I'm gonna have you guys do, the people who have the awards, you guys can stack, and then the people who don't have the awards can just sit. So that way we can get it. So they're gonna
Behind them.
stand so you guys see how much here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it's all down right here.
Finally.
The ones in the back still gotta come like really close. Sneak one more chair.
Need one more chair?
Still come up closer. You're gonna kind of fill in a lot of the gaps.
Us to come closer or the?
Oh no, just in the back. I'm sorry. Should specify. You need to. Then we'll be. Then we're gonna go past up here.
One, two, three, guys. Thank you guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Platform guests, please stay.
I mean, I was.
Again, I want to thank and recognize Dr. Williams and Chief Lawrence Ames for all they and the college have done. I want to thank PEPCO for their continuing support, and I want to thank you for coming out to join us, and especially for all our platform guests. Tonight's event is a group effort. I also want to recognize Assistant Sheriff Mark Roccapriori, Assistant Sheriff John Carr, Acting Assistant Sheriff Randy Cooper, Major Lisa Smith, Major Monica Andrews, and the Sheriff's Office command staff, especially Captain Kelly Ferris, Captain Sean Richards, Captain Mike Major, Miss Bethany Bordeaux, Corporal Fazia Mehdi, Deputy Saquon Wells, who were all directly involved in making tonight's event possible. I thank our deputies and all law enforcement members who get so much good work done. And now I'll ask that Sheriff High and all of our guests and awardees who have left stand together in a moment of silence, then join us in a countdown to light our purple lights. As they're getting ready, let's congratulate all our awardees with another round of applause. And now let us remember all our victims of domestic violence with a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Please join us all now as we do our countdown to the ceremonial lighting. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Lights.
Thank you for shining your light in the darkness where domestic violence thrives. Have a great evening.
Thank you.